My name is Arnaud Mens. I work for Bureau Veritas. Bureau Veritas is a large company that does testing, inspection, and certification services. 81,000 people globally. I work in the Marine and Offshore division. Bureau Veritas is an independent organization. We do independent inspections. What is unique about Pegasus is that it's going to be a fully sustainable ship. It's going to be a completely net zero ship, right? So that is unique. That is very exciting, and there's a lot of innovative features on it. And besides that, of course, it's a very luxurious ship, very large. So I think it will attract a lot of attention, a lot of interesting people. It will be a ship which will not be forgotten. When we talk about ships, we start in the very early stages of the project, at the design stage. So once the design comes through, then we look at drawings, see if the ship is stable enough, if she will be strong enough. And we will be looking at the materials and equipment as well that is going to be put on the ship. So we approve and we look at the design of all the equipment, all the materials. We visit the manufacturers before it comes on board, and then once the ship is being built, we look at the craftsmanship, the workmanship at the shipyard. So we look at how to weld it, if it's done proper. We follow the building process from A to Z. And then we do a lot of testing, and in the end, once the ship is delivered, the ship is issued with certificates. Of course, we very much focus on how the ship is being used, so the operation of it. It's going to be at sea, so it's a very different environment from shore side. So we also do the inspections in service. So every year or more often, we go on board and do inspections. Every 5 years, we do a very, very thorough inspection where we actually measure the thicknesses of the hull, and we look at the engines from the inside. We also look at the crew, how their well-being is. So there's a standard for it, and we audit the crew to see if they're being well paid, if they receive everything they need, if they are allowed to go home when they're sick. And then we look at the quality and safety management of the ship as well. So it's like a quality system to make sure that there's a level of safety at all time, and like this continuous concept. So how it works is this: there are basically two parts. One is the classification side. So the classification societies like ours, they write their own standards, and those are the class rules, and that is based on, it focuses on strength. On the equipment, on the engines, the electrical installations, etc., and stability. And then on the other side, there's the statutory regulation, where each ship has a flag, and the flag of that country, they determine, the country determines what rules and regulations apply. So, for example, if you choose Bahamas flag or Panama or whatever you choose, Cayman Islands, they say, okay, this is the regulatory framework for the ship. Now, those regulations are not necessarily written by Cayman Islands, but most of them are written by the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, but also the ILO, the International Labour Organization. And the member states are the countries that have signed for that, are ratifying countries. They write regulations, and they focus on safety, environment, all sorts of statutories. Now, those rules and regulations are not, sometimes they are checked and inspected by the country itself. In most cases, that is delegated to classification society. So, in short, we do inspections on our own behalf to our own standards, and we do inspections on behalf of the flag industry. And those are the statutory side. For us, safety is always the main topic, right? So whatever innovative stuff you have, so we'll make sure that it's safe enough in a marine environment. As any other industry, the shipping industry will have to decarbonize as well. And in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not the biggest, not the worst industry. But it's on the other hand, it's difficult to decarbonize because of all the systems that have been around for such a long time. Oil, fuel burning engine. So there's a lot of development going on. There's a lot of innovative fuels, different type of engines, and it's going really fast. And people are searching for the right solution. And there's probably going to be multiple types of solutions. So for most of those solutions, there's no real rule in place, but we have to deal with it anyway. So what we do is we look at what is the solution, and then we try to understand the safety aspects of it, because that's really our priority, safety. So with the solutions on Pegasus, so what we will do is we will try to understand the design. We will break it down, look at from a safety point of view, we will look how it works. If it affects somehow the strength of the ship, the stability of the ship, we make sure that it will operate at all times. And we do that from both the design point of view, but also on the actual components that are used. So we will look at the design of the components, we look at the materials, we will approve the materials, we will look at the manufacturer, see how it's built, and then later how it is operated. So what we do is we like to be involved in the early stages, like this, like you've done here. In that way, we'll be able to give feedback early on how the design is developing, so we can make sure that, for example, when a ship is being laid out, we will make sure that the damage stability criteria are met, that the fire and safety criteria are met. And I think that along the way, with all our experience, we've been dealing with all sorts of ships, but also very large cruise ships. We will be able to advise you what will be right safety decisions.